Tunde was the only child of Pa Adigun and Mama Folake, two parents who believed deeply in one proverb: a child's ears are on his back. He hears only when you beat him. To them, discipline meant pain. If Tunde broke a plate, he was beaten. If he forgot to fetch water, he was beaten. If he played too long with the neighbor's children, he was beaten. Sometimes, even when he hadn't done anything wrong, they would find a reason to beat him, saying, "We are training you to be responsible." But what they never did was talk to him. They never said, "Tunde, this is why this is wrong." They never said, "Son, this is how you do better next time." Their home was always filled with shouts, not lessons, fear, not love. As Tunde grew, his heart grew hard. He stopped smiling. He stopped talking. He lived like a prisoner in his own home. His parents would say, "Don't go near those children outside. They will spoil you." So, he watched other children play from afar, running in the rain, laughing under mango trees, flying paper kites. But he never joined them. At night, he would lie on his raffia mat and whisper to himself, "Why do my parents hate me so much?" But they didn't hate him. They thought they were training him, the only way they knew. They believed that fear builds character. They believed that silence meant obedience. They never knew that silence can also mean pain. Years passed. Tunde became a teenager, tall, strong, and quiet. But deep inside, a storm was growing. He had learned how to hide his feelings, how to lie to escape punishment, and how to pretend to be good while planning otherwise. When he entered university, his parents sighed with relief. "Finally," said Pa Adigun, "our son will make us proud." But they never prepared him for the world outside. They never taught him how to choose friends, how to say no, or how to stand for what is right. They had only taught him to fear, not to think. On campus, Tunde met a new kind of people. Boys who smiled with gold teeth, who dressed well, who spoke with confidence. They said to him, "You've been caged all your life, my brother. Here, you are free." For the first time, Tunde felt accepted. He laughed for real. He drank alcohol for the first time, joined in wild parties, and later joined a secret cult that promised power and protection. The same boy, who once trembled at his father's footsteps, now carried a gun without fear. The same boy, who once cried quietly in his room, now made others cry. Freedom without wisdom had turned him into something dangerous. News began to reach the village. "Tunde, your son, was arrested with bad boys. Tunde's gang attacked a student." Tunde fought the police. At first, Pa Adigun refused to believe it. "My son? Never. I beat him well. He knows fear." But one morning, the police came to their compound, dusty boots stamping the red earth, and asked, "Are you the parents of Tunde Adigun?" Mama Folake's hands shook as she answered, "Yes, what has he done?" The officer replied, "He has become a very dangerous young man." Mama Folake fell to the ground, wailing. Pa Adigun sat in silence, tears filling his old eyes. He remembered every stroke of the cane, every time he raised his hand instead of his voice, every time he shouted instead of teaching, and it hit him like thunder. They had beaten their son's body, but never touched his heart. Months later, they visited him in prison. He looked at them through the bars, tall, muscular, but broken. There was no respect in his eyes, only coldness. "Father, mother," he said slowly, "you taught me to fear pain, not to do right. You never told me how to live, only how to obey. And when I couldn't obey anymore, I lived the only way I knew, without fear." Pa Adigun wept openly. "My son, forgive us. We wanted you to be strong, Tunde shook his head. Greater than, you made me hard, not strong. You made me silent, not wise. Mama Folake cried uncontrollably, calling his name again and again. Tunde, my child, Tunde. But the boy they once beat to correct had already been lost inside. The lesson: that day, the elders of Egvurue gathered under the great Iroko tree to discuss what had happened. An old man stood up and said, "The cane can stop a child from doing wrong today, but only wisdom can stop him from doing wrong forever." And from that day, the town began to change. Parents started to talk to their children. They taught them why something was wrong, not just that it was wrong. They learned to discipline with words and love, not just with the cane. As for Pa Adigun and Mama Folake, they spent their old age warning others. Do not raise your children with fear. Teach them love, wisdom, and self-control. For a child you only beat will one day become a man who beats the world. A child's heart is not a drum to be beaten. It is a garden to be nurtured. Fear may control a child for a while, but understanding will guide him for life. Teach your children how to choose right, not just how to avoid punishment.